Hey world, what's up? Briterion Bollection is back with Byron and your host. I'm your host, Kevin. So we had a pretty good episode last time with From Dusk Till Dawn. I thought it was a lot of fun to talk about. We wanted to keep the horror going. And, even though Halloween has come and gone, I still want to talk horror until until Christmas kicks in, basically. So, and we wanted to do another vampire movie, right? So because of that, we decided, okay, what's another one of our favorite vampire movies? Well, it has to be Lost Boys, right? Lost Boys, he's classic, directed by Joel Schumacher, who directed Batman and Robin. But he also directed Batman Forever, which I love. Of those initial Batman, from '89 in the '90s, Batman Forever is actually my favorite of those, with Val Kilmer too. That was the only one he did. You gotta love that Seal song, "A Kiss from a Rose." So that's why that's the best Batman movie. Val Kilmer, Joel Schumacher, "Kiss from a Rose."
Exactly.
Yeah, that equals greatest Batman movie of all time. So yeah, so Lost Boys. Do you remember first seeing this movie? When you first saw it?
It wasn't initially when it came out, which was '87.
Right, we were too young, right?
Yeah, so it was probably in the '90s sometime. I want to say maybe around like 10 years old or something like that. Maybe a little younger. But I only saw it like maybe once or twice then, and then I saw it again when I was more like an adult or teenager, but probably like high school.
Right.
So yeah, I would say somewhere in that kid 7 to 8 range, and then seeing it later in high school probably
Right.
next time.
Yeah, I remember seeing it as a kid for sure, but then again, I think I brought up before. I would see a lot of horror movies when I was a kid. They were just always on. They were always on
Yeah.
TV late at night, and I was young and didn't have a lot of supervision on me, so like, or they just would let me watch it, and
Right.
I would like watch it with my cousin. We would see some horror movies. This one, it is a horror movie, but it's not that dark. Like it's more on the funner side, I would say. So it wasn't as like scary as some of these other movies that I saw at that time.
No, there's not a lot of jump scare, and like you said, it's more light. There's dark moments in it, but
Right.
it's not a lot of dark moments. I would
Yeah,
say.
and it has a lot of comedy to it,
Definitely.
which I love about it. I
Yeah.
really
Because we talk horror and comedy go together, so
horror and humor,
they can always blend.
Right.
Typically,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I would see it a lot as a kid, and then it would be on TNT or TBS, and then
Yeah.
every time I would always just see it on TV, and I'd watch it again. Like, okay, is this movie still good? I'd watch it a few years later. Is this movie still good? Still good.
Yeah.
Is this movie still good? Still good.
Yeah.
If I'm watching it now, it's still good.
Yeah. To do this episode, I rewatched it recently, and I was like, it still holds up.
Yeah.
Some movies you can't say that, so that's how good this
No.
movie was. It's 38 years old approximately. It
Yeah.
came out in '87, so
87.
for it to still hold up, they definitely did something with this movie.
Yeah, it has like this pop energy that keeps it fresh for today. Yeah, because a lot of these movies just do not hold up. Like I was saying, I was watching Pet Cemetery, the original, not that long ago, and to me, I was just like, this does not hold up. It's not as scary as I remember, and it's just not as entertaining as I remember. But yeah, I finished watching. Even though I watch it all the time, kind of Lost Boys. Whenever it's like I have some free time and and I feel like watching it, I'll watch it. But I watched it. I finished watching it earlier today actually, and I was like, dude, this still holds up. This still holds up. It's fucking great. It's a great film. And that's the thing. Even if it's on TV, like if I see it on TV, I'll end up watching the whole damn movie. Even though it's on streaming, I have the DVD. If I see it on, I'm like, okay, I'll leave it here, and then I end up watching the whole damn movie.
That's how good it is.
Yeah,
You don't want to turn it off.
exactly. You're just so addicted. And also, if you have the DVD, Joel Schumacher, he did a great commentary on it. Actually, it's really informative, and I'll probably tell you some gems from that I learned on that commentary track. Even though it's actually I haven't seen the commentary track in a while, but I've seen it before. It's really good if you want to listen to it. Something I hadn't really thought of before weirdly enough, watching this back, what this really reminded me of was that it really took that John Hughes element and then put horror to it, put vampires to it. I hadn't thought of that before. I was like, holy shit!
I've never
Like,
heard no one say that.
yeah, no, for sure, it totally has. I think that's why I like it because I love John Hughes movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were hitting in
Yeah.
the 80s. He couldn't miss.
Yeah.
Like everything he did was
Exactly, but it's
good.
like, okay, if you love that, but let's put in some horror in this. You know what I mean? Like that makes it even better.
Right.
And because those other films, they did have teens dying too, like Freddy Krueger and and Friday the 13th, but they didn't have enough John Hughesiness to it. You know what I mean? There wasn't enough like 80s cheesy campness to it, like the drama of being a teenager. They didn't have enough of that in it in those Freddy movies. Whereas this has that. You see this brotherhood, like the two brothers kind of they're kind of arguing, and then the family dynamics, and then meeting these other guys who are also young too. The vampires are young, Kiefer, and then the Frog brothers are young. You know what I mean? Like, and he's like hooking up with the chick, like you know what I mean? Like,
definitely a young man's movie.
Yeah,
young person's movie.
yeah.
For sure.
So that's what I liked about this movie. I'm like, holy shit, he really combined this John Hughes meets vampires thing, and I'll get more to that. I'll show you a Easter egg that maybe you didn't see. So Wikipedia, that's what we do, right?
Yeah, that's how we started.
So this is the short Wikipedia description. The film follows two teenage brothers who move with their divorced mother to the fictional town of Santa Carla, California, only to discover that the town is a haven for vampires. So that's the description. You picked out some moments, right? And maybe you can piggyback on them as I go through the movie. You can be like, okay, this is one of the moments I picked out. So we open with the overhead shot of the water coming up on Santa Carla, which really was Santa Cruz.
Yeah, they just flipped the name.
And they weren't going to do that. It was just going to be Santa Cruz initially.
Oh, okay. But something happened.
Yeah, I guess at the last moment, the mayor or something was like, "Oh, I don't want you to use Santa Cruz." Yeah. He's like, "I don't want to be associated with murder and vampires."
Even though it's the same town, but just change the name.
Yeah, so they're like, okay, let's call it Santa Carla. So that's why. So yeah, which I've never been there, even though it looks.
I never have either. I would like to just visit it though. It seems like a cool city.
Yeah, and a lot of people go to the university there, right? UC Santa Cruz, Banana Slugs.
It's actually pretty popular.
Yeah, I've known a lot of people who went there, so it would be cool to check out. I mean, just their whole boardwalk with the car.
I would love to go just for that.
Yeah,
that's where the film was mostly shot at. So good chunk of it.
And that's what's awesome. That's that John Hughes element, showing shit like that. Like that's very Hughesy. So yeah, so that shot that was really creative, and that's something that Schumacher has said. Oh, we couldn't show them flying. Like we didn't have enough of a budget to show them, see them in the air. He's like, but what if we showed it like from their perspective, looking down?
I think
that's exactly because I think seeing them kind of looks kind of cheesy.
The eyes of them though.
Right. And it's scary too.
It is scary.
You hear that sound of them like flying. Yeah, it makes it scarier, I think.
Got that.
Right, and then the theme song, so iconic.
When you think of the movie, that song just automatically.
You remember that shit. Yeah. And so we see that Santa Cruz boardwalk, and we see Kiefer Sutherland, who plays David, and his boys. They're fucking around on the merry-go-round on the carousel, and the security guard is like, "Hey, like get the fuck out of here." He's like, he doesn't like seeing them there. So then after that, you see the security guard at the end of the night going to his car, and then you see the sky, sky looking down. Yeah. And you hear that sound, you're like, "Oh shit!" And then he's like trying to get in his car, but he looks up, and then you assume that something just descends on it right there, right?
That's my first moment, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
First moment that stood out in the film.
Right, yeah, like them. That's the first kill that you see.
The first kill, and you know that you may not know that they're vampires, but you know that there's something.
Yeah.
It turns out that's what they are.
So. Yeah, there's something aerial.
You can put two and two together and probably figure out what they are. But
right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure when people saw the trailer, they're like, "Okay, these guys are vampires."
It wasn't too hard to figure out.
Like, if you're lucky enough to have never seen this movie before and you just watch it blind, yeah, I guess it could surprise you that they're vampires, kind of. You know,
Yeah.
you're like not fully sure. If someone doesn't blow the fucking surprise for you before you watch it, you could be surprised by that. But yeah, so this family, two boys, two teenage boys and the mom, they moved from Phoenix to Santa Carla, and they moved to their grandpa's house. And the grandpa, he's pretty funny, actually. I remember he was in Blossom. He was the grandpa in Blossom. But I saw Blossom first, I think. So I was like, or I guess I remembered him like I didn't realize it was the same guy. Seeing Lost Boys again after Blossom, I was like, oh, this is the grandpa from Blossom. That's funny.
Then it registered to you.
Yeah, I only realized that at that point. And then, as they're driving in, Mike sees the billboard. It says "Welcome to Santa Carla," and then on the back there's some tagging.
It says,
it says "Murder Capital of the World."
Right.
Right, which is hard to believe. Like it's like
all the British cities. Yeah, Chicago.
Yeah, this isn't Caracas, Venezuela. Yeah,
maybe in LA would be more.
Yeah, exactly. So I think supposedly it got that tag because no, it's not the murder capital of the world, but actually it's more dangerous than you think. I guess is what it was. Like there are more murders than you might expect going on there. So I guess that's why somebody put that tag there. And then we hear doom 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 people strange when you're a stranger. Yeah, we hear that. So that's a cover by Echo and the Bunnymen of the Doors. People are strange. Yeah, which is actually one of my favorite Doors songs.
It's a good song.
Yeah, and so we see this montage of like the weirdos and Santa Cruz, like the punks and the hippies and the weirdos, basically. So, and I think that kind of sets the tone. They're like, okay, if you see people like this, there could be vampires here too. You know what I mean?
The
Like,
town is not as pleasant as you think. There's some weird and unusual things going on.
right. There's a weird element, and so that Echo and the Bunnymen cover, it actually was produced by the keyboardist from the Doors. So he was like, oh, like we need a band to do a cover of this. He produced it, and he actually plays the keyboards on it. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, that makes sense because they sound so exact. They sound like so perfectly like the original. So yeah, that was a cool cover that they put. And then we see Michael and the whole family really is checking out the boardwalk for the first time. They're checking the scene, and Michael, he sees a chick. He sees Star at the boardwalk, and he's smitten with her. And
that's my second moment.
Yeah, yeah. So he sees her dancing. There's a band playing, and the band has this singer who's this shirtless guy playing. He's like all greased up. Right. He's singing and he's playing saxophone when he's not singing. Right. So yeah, I was like, who the hell is this guy? Like, I think that's what I thought before, but then I finally did a little bit of research. Here's Mal. Here's my cat Mal, by the way, doing a cameo. So the guy, his name is Tim Capello, is his name, and he was actually the saxophone player for Tina Turner. And this song is actually a cover. The original is by this group, The Calling, or The Call. No, not the one of those. It's one of those things. Not the group that did Everywhere You Go. It's a different group, the Australian group. But this song kicks ass. I love this song, actually. The original too, if you listen to it, it's pretty damn good. And so yeah, but I think everyone's like, who the hell is this guy? And where the hell did they get him from? But I guess the director was a fan of his, so that's why he invited him to do the soundtrack. And then he's like, okay, let me do a scene with you in it. But he looks like he's like fucking Triple H playing the saxophone. He's like, yeah, exactly. This buff, oily guy, fucking getting down on the sax, the premarital sax. Yeah, and then we see this nerdy middle-aged guy named Max who owns this record store there on the boardwalk. And then we see Kiefer, who plays David, and his boys. They come in there too, and he's staring them down. And you could sense some tension there, right? And, a little bit, yeah. And then, but Max, I remember the actor. He ended up being in Gilmore Girls. Actually, he played like the grandpa in Gilmore Girls later on. But his outfit looks ridiculous. Like he looks like he's in a new wave band, but he's like 45, and he's like an old 45. He's not like a young looking 45. Yeah, he looks so old, it's ridiculous. Like Haim, you see Haim, how he's dressed, he can pull it off, like, because he's young. But this guy, he just looks fucking ridiculous. And then the boy's mom, we see her, she meets Max, and she's played by Diane Wiest, who's a great actress. And we talked about her, me and Aileen talked about her on I Am Sam, actually, because she's in that movie. And she goes into the record store because she's like, oh, there's a lost boy here. He can't find his parents. And the boy's crying. And then I remember on the commentary, so yeah, she brings in a lost boy. That's what the title came from. Throughout the movie, he tries to put like lost boys in there. That's why he shows like the missing signs and stuff like that. He's like, oh, I was trying to show like lost boys, like lost children in the whole movie.
Pretty good because I never really questioned the title.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool, but there's got to be a meaning behind it. Right. She's trying to show you.
Yeah, he was showing different layers for sure. I remember him saying that. He's like, yeah, I was trying to show like different lost boys in this. Yeah, and then luckily that kid's mom came like a second later. But then she is introduced to Max, and they kind of have some chemistry there. And it's funny because this actress Diane Wiest, she really has a real California vibe in this, which is weird because I just think of her as like a New York actress, like a really Woody Allen type of, dry type of type of actress. So it's weird to see her like kind of California-ish in this.
Right.
But then so Max, he sees David and he says, "Oh, I told you I didn't want to see you guys in here anymore." So from when you see that, you think, "Oh, he means that these guys are just punks that they steal shit from him or something like that, right?" So he doesn't want to see him in there anymore. So that's kind of what you're thinking, but it's tight because he really means something else, but you don't know that until the end, right? Absolutely. You don't know what he means, like, I don't want to see you here anymore,
Right.
You think it's because, oh, these guys like steal shit from him or something.
Yeah, that would be the obvious.
Right. Yeah. So, but that's what was good about keeping that, like they hiding that throughout the whole movie. They did a good job.
Yeah,
of it. Show it. Right. And then Sam, played by the late great Corey Haim, he's at the comic book store and he's checking it out, and he meets the infamous Frog Brothers, one of whom is played by another Corey Feldman. So this was the first two Corey's movies, like because they did a few. This was their first collaboration. He questions their comic organization skills. He's like, oh, you got the Superman over here next to this shit, and they're all out of order, whatever. And then it's funny because Feldman's like, where are you from? Krypton? And he's like, Phoenix, actually. And he's like, oh, well, you need to read this. And he gives him this vampire comic. And he's like, I don't like horror comics. But they're really persistent about it. They're like, here, take this. And he's like, I told you, I don't like horror comics. And he's like, well, think of it more as a survival guide. Don't think of it as entertainment.
That was my moment number 3. Actually.
Right, there you go. Yeah. So, but that was good because they planted the idea of vampires in his head with the comic.
That's why I made it a moment. Yeah. And going back to with the girl that he saw when he was there, the whole basis of the movie actually is connected to her, as you explain more.
Trying to get with her.
If he didn't try to get with her, he wouldn't become would get to the
He wouldn't have gone down this rabbit hole.
My point. You don't think that, but watching like, oh, she's the centerpiece of really the whole movie.
Well, everything starts with a girl.
There's always
a choice.
There's always a connection.
So a lot of shit is propelled by women, right?
Yeah.
So they're the catalysts usually or something, for some drama, right? So Sam gets that notion of vampires. Like I don't think he was thinking about that before, but then these dudes.
So now it's in your mind. Yeah. You don't know that they're there,
right?
But you also probably think, well, why did they force me to?
Yeah.
So something with vampires.
Exactly. So that sets him up there, and then it's another time. Like they do some home activity, and then they're back at the boardwalk, and Michael sees Star at the boardwalk. So Star is played by Jamie Gertz, who was big in the 80s at the time. And he's like, hey, you want to get something to eat with me? And she's like, yeah, sure. So they're about to go get something to eat, and then David and his boys roll up on motorcycles. They're like, and he has his like crappy like moped or whatever.
Right.
Like, come on, like let's ride. He's like kind of challenging him, right? Like David's challenging Michael, right? Yeah. And then Michael, but I mean that's the thing, and I guess that's why Schumacher casted Jason Patrick as Michael, because he was like, oh, I liked his like humbleness. He looked mature, but he was young, but he had like this humbleness, the right energy. And there's something like 80s looking about him too. You know what I mean? He just says 80s, like the hair, the stubble, like the light stubble. Like his keeper has that too. He has that like stubble on his face, which is perfect for that time. And so he says, "Oh, I can't beat you on your bikes." You know what I mean? Like, I just have this crappy moped. But David's like, "Oh, you don't have to beat us, but you have to keep up with us. Like, try to keep up with us." And he's like, "All right, fine." He takes the challenge, and so they would just ride off, and they just like burn his ass. And he's like, "Oh, shit, it's scary." It's scary from his perspective. And it's like shaggy. You're like, "You're crashing over rocks." Yeah, he's like, "Shit." And it's like Mr. Bean, like, yeah, you can't see shit on that. That was like me driving. That's the thing. So me and my wife, we went to LA on Saturday, this past Saturday, right? Rainiest fucking day of my life. I've never driven in so much rain. It was the most dangerous shit ever.
Was it batter up there? Because it was beautiful. We had
it was horrible. It was. I thought it would be more like not as bad up there. I thought it was worse down here. But we kept driving. It would not let up, man. There was no
the entire way
going to there. Yeah, there were points where you couldn't see shit. They were just exactly. And then there are times where yeah, we saw like 50 accidents on the way there. We're like accidents, right? Yeah, we were just like maybe we should just go, but we and we kind of got really far. We were like past Camp Pendleton. And it's like we're like shit. Like yeah, like it would be hard just to get back. So you might, and so we luckily we made it in one piece there and back. So yeah, crazy. Yeah, it was some of the craziest rain. So yeah, that's the worst rain I've ever driven in. I'm serious. In all your my whole life. That's all bad. Yeah, that's all bad. It was just like, and you couldn't see the window. Yeah, you're doing these things 50 miles. Just wouldn't let up, and you're just like in the car. You know what I mean? I mean, like just got the car too, so it's like having to get kind of used to it a little bit. And get used to a tone. Right? It was a baptism of rain, I guess, instead of fire. Baptism of rain. But yeah, I mean that's kind of how you feel seeing Michael like on his moped in the fog of this. But somehow he does keep up with him, and yeah, also seeing this back, you know, something that it reminds you of John Hughes, but also it reminds you of Donnie Darko too. Like I never kind of thought of that of Donnie Darko with this. You know, I mean, but when you look at it, yeah, Donnie Darko takes place in the '80s. You know, it's not an '80s movie, but it takes place in the '80s. And you know that was released in what 2001. Yeah, it was around there. Yeah, yeah, because it was going to be released, but then September 11th happened. So that's part of what killed it. That's kind of part of what buried the movie. So yeah, but watching this back, I was like, yeah, I do get this. Like, I feel just this '80s vibe. You know, like, you know, yeah, like the music, the fashion, the riding bikes and riding, you know, shit like that. We saw it a lot in the '80s, like E.T. riding bikes and shit like that. That's true. Yeah, it was kind of a thing back then. Yeah, so it just gave me this vibe of that. They invite him to their hangout, basically. Like they invite him to their cave, and he's kind of like, "Whoa, look, you guys have a cave, you know, that you guys hang out in?" What is this? Right? Yeah, and David tells him, "Hey, this place was like the biggest hotel. This was all the rage in the 1800s." He's like, but then when the 1906 earthquake happened in San Francisco, it like demolished it, and it kind of just got sucked into this place, basically. So that's he's explaining. Oh, this is how we wound up with our cool hangout that we had. Right. So he's like, oh, well, this is cool. You know, oh yeah, I'll chill here. And then you know, we heard the Doors cover earlier, and then what do we see on the wall there? Jim Morrison poster. Yeah. There. So I guess he's like he's the idol for the vampires, I guess. Right. That they have him on the wall. But what's funny is that right after that scene, we cut to Sam. Sam is at home in his room, and he's reading that vampire comic, right? And he's like kind of getting scared. He's like enthralled by it. But he's like, oh crap, like what's gonna happen now? He's all into it. And then there's a poster on his wall. Did you see what poster that is in his wall in his room? I mentioned John Hughes, right? He has a Molly Ringwald poster on his wall there. So yeah, it just like perfectly fits. You know what I mean? John Hughes, the Doors, you know, everything kind of, yeah, everything adds up. So yeah, he's reading the comic, so it's like you can see, yeah, it is embedding into his head. Right. And we cut back to them in the cave, and David's like, "Oh, you want something to eat?" And he's like, "Okay," and he passes out some like things of Chinese, some of those white boxes of Chinese food. He passes that out to each of the guys, and he's like, "Here you go," and then he starts eating some rice, right? I'm sure this is one of your moments, right? That you picked that. Of course. Of course. So he starts, Michael starts eating the rice with the chopsticks, and David tells him, "Well, how are the maggots?" And Michael's like, "What?" And he's like, "Maggots." He's like, "How are they?" And then he's like, "What?" And he looks down and he sees these maggots squirming there. He's like, "Oh," and he drops it. He's like, "Oh shit, what the fuck?" He's like spinning it out. And then they're all laughing at him. And he's like, "Relax, Michael, relax." And he looks down and it's rice. Yeah. He's like, "What the hell?" Like, that was weird. And then, when you're a kid and you see that, you're like, "Dude, that's fucking crazy." You don't get the magic of it. You don't get the fact that they can cut and put in shit. Yeah. You think it's like magical when you see it as a kid. So yeah, this is always one of my favorite scenes in the movie. It still is, honestly. And then, they're like, "Oh, sorry, Michael, sorry." He's like, "Here you go, try these noodles." So he gives him a thing of noodles, and he starts eating that. Yeah, and he's like, "How the worms?" And he looks at it, you see these worms on the chopstick, and they're laughing at his ass again.
Right, just playing with it.
But there's a funny line when he gives them the rice initially.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "What? You don't like rice?" And then he's like, "Eh." And then he's like, "A billion Chinese people can't be wrong, Michael."
That's funny.
Yeah, like, and as a kid, I don't think I got what was funny about that, but only as you grow up and learn things about the world, you realize, what I mean? I think there's probably some people who think that line is racist, actually. I could see nowadays, like, them say, "Oh, it was racist." It's like, why? Because he's just saying that China has a big population? That makes it racist?
He's tying food to what they eat. It's Chinese food.
Yeah.
Right?
I could see some jackass trying to,
Spin it any
yeah.
makes sense, but
Yeah, exactly. So then they're like, okay, like, so David busts out this bottle of wine, right? And he takes a swig of that and he offers it to him. And he's like, "Drink." He's like, "Be one of us." And you're kind of like, you kind of don't know what he means by that. Like, it's kind of vague. Like, does he mean like be cool like one of us, or what?
Don't
So
know.
yeah, so then Star sees that and she's like, "Don't," like, she's like, and
But not like,
yeah, not convincingly. Yeah. She's like, "You don't have to do that." But he's like, "Dude, this is peer pressure. These guys are fucking cool. If I want to hang out with these guys, I need to do the shit they do." So he's like, "All right." He's like, "I'll just drink this shit." He drinks it, and you're like, "Okay, what is that? Is it wine? Is it blood?" So he drinks it, and it's like this dissolve. I like the dissolve of it. And yeah, you could like the dissolves. It creates this haziness in his head. You know what I mean? Like, he's drinking and like he's like, "Where am I? And what's going on?" Like, like the slow dissolves really add to the effect of that.
Right.
And next thing we know, it dissolves, and they take him to these train tracks, right?
Yeah.
Another great scene, right?
Scene.
Yeah, great scene.
Probably the most iconic scene of the movie.
Yeah, I would say so. I love the scene. But I would play with like my X-Men toys as a kid, and I would like reenact the scene for no damn reason.
That's how big it was.
That's how great it was.
Right.
It was like I had like Wolverine looking. It's like, I know. Yeah, it was just that awesome. This scene is just so great. So they take him to the train tracks, and David's like, "See you, Michael," and then they fall down, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And then one by one, they're like, "See you, Michael." They're like, "See you," and they all fall down. He's like,
It's only him
"Where you
left.
guys go? Like, where'd you guys go?" He's like, "What the hell?" And then he's like, "Okay," and he's like, "All right, jump, jump," and so he just jumps, and then he sees them that they're all hanging on this rail underneath the track, right? And so he's like, "Oh shit!" So he grabs on and
The same.
yeah, yeah, and they're like, "Ah," and then he's like laughing and smiling. He's like, "Yeah, this is cool. Hanging, yeah, it's cool." He's like, "Yeah, it is like a cool thing." He's like, "Okay, like, can we get back up now?" But then you hear these rumblings, right? You hear this rumbling. Yeah, you're like, "Oh," and he's like, "Oh shit, what are we gonna do?" And he's like, "Hold on, Michael, hold on." And they're all trying to hold on. You see the train go, and then like, "Oh," like it makes me wonder how they think of that. Like, what made them think of that? It's great.
I wouldn't know how to think to go to that scene.
Yeah.
But it all fits because vampires obviously.
Vampires can fly.
Yeah. They drop it and die.
Right.
Fly. So.
But he doesn't know that yet, so they're fucking with him, right? So yeah, and then slowly each of those guys starts dropping down, except Kiefer and him.
He's the last one.
And they're just looking right at each other. I mean, they're like a foot away from each other. He's like,
Kiefer says something, right?
Yeah, he's like, hold on, Michael, hold on. And they're both just looking at each other as the train goes over. And then I think David, he's just like, all right, and he just lets go and just falls in. And then Michael's like alone. Okay, what do I do? You know, and then so he's like, all right, so he just lets go. And then when he lets go, he's like he's like floating some fog. And you're like, okay, what the hell's going on? And then next thing you know, he wakes up and he's in his bed. And he's like, oh shit, like, what the hell? What the hell happened? Great scene.
Yeah, best scene in the movie.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then his mom comes in and is like, hey, like watch Sam while I go to work. Neither of them want to do that. You know, he doesn't want to have to watch him, and then he doesn't think he needs to be watched. But she's like, yeah, she's like, watch him, you know, I'm going to be at work. So, yeah, he's just there. And then, you know, later that night, Sam is taking a bath. He's taking a bubble bath and he's singing, ain't got a home. And
having a fun time.
having a fun time by himself, which I think a lot of people do.
At that age, you're a kid, you had your moments.
Right, yeah. So, and then Michael, I guess he's getting thirsty, so he goes downstairs to the fridge.
Yeah.
He gets the milk and starts drinking straight from the carton, right? He starts drinking, and then he's like, oh, like he starts like keeling over, like, oh shit, like, and then he just falls to the ground, and he's like, oh shit, what the hell? And then he just gets this urge all of a sudden, right? He gets this vampire instincts just start kicking in.
Yeah. It's setting in at that point.
He's like, oh shit, he's like, I need some blood. I need to suck on some blood somewhere.
The only person in the house.
Yep.
His brother.
His Sam. Yeah, he starts walking up the stairs and he's in the shower and he opens the door and I think
the dog is in there with
him. The dog is in there with him, but Sam is like, he has his eyes closed. Or
I can't see because he has like soap over his eyes. Clears his face.
But then you can hear the dog sees Michael. He's like,
and it just instantly went.
Yeah.
As soon as you open the door, like maybe a moment after. It was
like, animals know, you know. So, but then Michael, like, he wants to just jump on Sam, but then the dog is like, Nanook is the dog. And he just jumps on him. He like, he turns into Cujo at that point and just jumps on Michael. Yeah, he jumps on him and then Sam's like, whoa, what the fuck was that? What the hell's going on?
Right.
Yeah, and so he goes downstairs and it's scary because it's all dark, you know, there's like no lights on in there. And then he finally turns on the light and he sees Michael there and his hand's all bloody. And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, what'd you do to my dog? He's like, oh, he bit me. And he's like, why'd he bite you? He's like, he was protecting you. And he's like, what the hell? And then he's like, look in the mirror, Mike. He's like, look at your reflection. And he has no reflection. Right? So he's like, oh shit. He's like, what? And then Sam's like, what the hell did you do? He's like, you're a vampire. So he automatically jumps to that because he's read these comic books.
That's one of the things.
Yeah, he wouldn't have found that otherwise. You know what I mean?
His friends schooled him at the comic store. Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, so because that was been planted in his head, now he's thinking vampire everything. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you're a fucking vampire. He's like, damn it. He's like, wait till mom finds out. I think that's like the most important thing is her finding out that he's a vampire. You know? Yeah, so Sam calls the Frog Brothers and he tells them what's going on. And they're like, oh, does he wear sunglasses? Does he have bad breath? And he's like, yeah, he wears sunglasses inside. He's like, well, he's always had bad breath, but that's okay. That's part of the humor of it. Yeah.
Got one.
Yeah. One out of two. Yeah. And then
oh, it's kind of confirmed, right? Does he have this? Does he have that?
Yeah. He checks off like the checklist. Boxes. Like Jason Tatum, all the checklists that he was trying to check off. He's like, well, what do you want? Like, I'm the face of the NBA.
I checked all the boxes.
He's the face of vampirism. So then, and then we see Michael flying. He starts flying and he can't really control it. He's like, oh shit! Like it's like he has gravity, like anti-gravity. Like he's like in NASA.
He doesn't have a grip on it. He's constantly
he just floats, but he can't control it yet. You know what I mean? He's still like mastering that. So he's there and he's like against the wall. It's kind of cool. And then hearing the phone ring, like they have these old school phones, it's just crazy. It just makes you think, damn, everybody used to have landlines like that. You know what I mean? That was the only way you could communicate.
Yeah, at that
I
time.
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
what we've grown to, right?
Yeah. Like you could never, if you went outside this house, I would have no way of contacting you. You know what I mean?
That's why when cordless phones came, it was a big deal
Yeah.
because there was no cord attached. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You
Yeah.
could kind of be talking to them
Somewhat.
outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
In one spot.
Right. Yeah, but you couldn't leave the home and use it. You know what I mean? Like
It wasn't a cell phone.
Yeah.
It was, you know,
that's what I'm saying.
that was the next,
Yeah.
you know,
The next
progressions.
evolutions.
You know,
Yeah.
they made progressions. You know, I
Right.
remember pagers and go on that. You know,
Yeah. No, that was crazy, man.
yeah.
But to think that we lived through that whole evolution. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Landlines,
Yeah.
pagers, maybe cell phones, smartphones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just on that side.
Yeah.
You know, CD players, Walkmans,
Yeah.
VHS,
DVD, Blu-ray, streaming. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going from the bottom,
Yeah.
and you go up to the DVD.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've seen a lot of
Just that evolution of technology.
I remember AOL,
Yeah.
dial-up.
That's what everybody had initially.
Before the internet service, it was AOL.
Yeah.
And then you start getting, you know, all the other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, kind of, sorry.
I just thought it was crazy that we lived, you know, we lived through that, and now we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, and it's weird because I've kind of Googled things like, I guess, some nostalgia that some people have. Like I've Googled stuff like that I found on Reddit. It's like people, you know, who are like in their 20s now. They're like, what was it like? Do you remember what it was like when you were younger, like in the early 2010s, late 2000s? And they're like, yeah. They're like, I can vaguely remember it. It just felt, something about it just felt more tangible then. You know what I mean? And we're talking later for us, you know what I mean? 08, 09, 2010. They're like, yeah, they're like, you know, I was only like 2 or 3 or 4. It's like, but something about the world felt more tangible at that time. That's what I heard them say. That's what I've seen them say, like on Reddit. They're like, I can't describe it. It was like something, just like, it wasn't so, like, you could feel things more. I don't know. That's what he was trying to say. That's what they're trying to say. So it's kind of interesting to just see that.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So, yeah, the landline there. And then the mom comes back home, but they have to keep his whole vampire thing a secret, right?
Yeah.
So Sam asks his mom, "Oh, can I sleep in your room?" He's like, "The comic really scared me," and she's like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." So he's gonna sleep with her in her bed, and then we see him on his side, and he takes off his robe, and he has this garlic necklace. Like, she's like, "Geez, you smell like garlic." He's like, "Oh, nothing." Covering it up. But I remember as a kid, I thought that was weird. I was like, "Where the hell did you get that garlic necklace?" And then we see Max, you know, her date, the Gilmore Girls guy. He gets back home, and he starts hearing shit. Like, he has his dog there, but he starts hearing like some rustling, and the wind is like, is fucking with him, and he's like, "What the hell?" Like, he's like, "What is that?" And so we see him reacting to that, and then he looks up and he can hear and see the motorcycles pop up there. Like, and you're like, "Oh shit!" Like, I guess they're getting back at his ass for him, like, chewing them out earlier, right? So you think, right? You know, like,
put your mind with
yeah, you know. But what's funny is that you never see, you know, you kind of forget all about that. You're like, if you're seeing it for the first time, wouldn't you be like, what happened there? Nothing happened to him there then? Like, why, you know, what did they do to him? So yeah, it's kind of interesting. And Mike goes to their vampire cave, but only Star is there, and he's like, "All right, well, this is the perfect time." So Mike and Star hook up there. Yeah, exactly. So what's cool is that when they're doing that, there's this, it cuts to this shot through the clouds. Like, it's a really cool shot. And I'm trying to remember if they shot that specifically for the movie or it was like stock footage that they, it's a really cool shot. Like the lighting, like how, like the color of it looks really cool. Like, it almost looks like especially made for the movie. So it looks really cool. And the mom and Sam go to Max's house so she can apologize to him for running out on their date from the other night because Sam called her. Yeah, because of the whole vampire situation with Michael. So then she's gonna drop off something there. She's like, "I'll just drop this off so we can go." But then his dog sees her and he's like, "Arr!" He gets like really pissed off.
I remember that's where they have to run and jump over that.
Yeah, and she's like, oh shit, like she's like, he's really wants to like eat my ass or something like that. Like, yeah, so she's like, oh shit, like he turns into Cujo now all of a sudden, and she's like, oh,
I almost got him. It's close.
Yeah,
they get away, but
yeah. So she barely climbs over the fence back over, and like, yeah, he would kind of like shoot at her.
Yeah.
But you're like, yeah, exactly. And then, but then Sam sees in his comic book, he's like, yeah, he's like, this is right on point. He's like, because he has this hound from hell, like he saw in the comic book. He says, he says during the day when vampires are asleep, they usually have fierce dogs like protecting them.
Protector.
Yeah, so that's what his
protector.
Yeah, he's like, oh shit, he's a fucking vampire, you know. Right. So, but then the mom and Sam get the idea. They're like, oh, why don't you come over for dinner? Right. And they're like, yeah, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, yeah. We're like, yeah, but like Sam does it because he wants to like try to get closer and like prove that he's a vampire, basically. Right. That's why he invites him. So he's like, yeah, we'll get his ass there. So then he comes to the dinner, and then Sam's like, yeah, Sam's like, oh, by the way, these guys are here. And she's like,
but she's like, oh no, we have enough food. Like, since you're here, like I'm not gonna tell you guys to go home. So.
Yeah, she's like, he's like, these are the Frog Brothers, just in army shit for no reason.
That was their whole thing.
Yeah. So we cut to, and they're just eating awkwardly there. Sam was like, oh, like, you want Parmesan on your spaghetti? He's like, yeah, sure. And then he like shakes it on there, and the dude eats it, and he starts coughing. He's like, ah. He's like, you don't like that, do you? And then he's like, it's garlic. And he's like, yeah, you hate garlic, right? Yeah. He's like, no. He's like, I like it. He's like, it's just, it's like overwhelming. It's like too much. Yeah. And he's like, oh. I was like,
and the mom's like, like,
yeah.
Oh, what are you doing? It's just garlic.
It's like, what the hell are you guys doing? And then he's like, oh, whatever. So like they start eating, and then
the water.
Yeah, it's like holy water. Yeah. Yeah, and then he's like, oh, like that burns, doesn't it? And then he's like, what the hell are you?
No, he's like, no.
Yeah, he's like, you just got me all fucking wet.
Yeah.
Like a suit.
Every time, wasn't working.
Nothing was working, right? And that was like, you're like, okay, well,
it makes them look like idiots. Doing.
And more importantly, you're like, okay, he's out of the equation. Like, there's nothing vampiric about him, right?
Multiple things. Yeah. Didn't work.
So, okay, we can cross him off our list. He has some friction with David too. Like he thinks he's a punk from just stealing shit from him on the boardwalk, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, obviously he has nothing to do with him, you know?
Yeah.
So you think, right? So then, yeah, it's funny because after that, Max is like, okay, he's like, I think I know what's going on here. And then Feldman is like, you do? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I know exactly what's going on.
I'm not going to steal.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm not trying to steal you from your mother from you. Like, I'm not trying to replace your father. And then he's like,
that was the answer.
Yeah.
He's like,
okay. He's like, that's not what's going on.
Like, you're a vampire, you don't want to tell him.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, that was the last thing on my mind.
Relevant at this point.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care about that.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. So as they walk out, she's like, you know, they're kind of like, damn, we've had horrible luck with our dates, you know?
Yeah. He's like, oh, why don't you come to my house?
Yeah. He's like, come to my house. Tomorrow I'll make dinner. And she's like, yeah, sure. Sounds good. And so, like, okay, they have another date going on. And Mike goes to the cave. He goes to the cave. They're hanging out to look for Star, but she's not there. And she's like, where's Star? He's all pissed off. And David tells him, like, hey, like, if you want to see her again, you need to go with us. So then we cut to, there's like a bonfire going on with all these like weirdos and punks drinking beer. They're listening to Run DMC, Walk This Way, right?
Yeah.
The Aerosmith cover. And yeah, and they're like partying and drinking and shit. And they're like, okay, these guys are perfect. Like, these are the guys we need to do. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, you know?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. He's like, initiation is over. He's like, you gotta join us or not, you know? And he's like, join you in what? And then, you know, all of a sudden he's like, you see their vampire faces. Yeah. You see,
they don't hide it anymore.
Yeah.
They still, you see the
vampire face.
You see the face, and then they just go attack.
Yeah, they all
get to it. And they pretty much kill everybody there. Right?
Yeah, he sees the whole thing. And yeah, he sees them tearing into them.
He never joins, though. He kind of keeps his distance.
He kind of like has to keep himself from going in. Yeah. He's like fighting the urge to go in.
I tell him at the end, like, hey, Michael, you have to feed at some point. You're a vampire, so you can't just not take people's blood. It's part of being a vampire.
It's part of your nature. Yeah. If you want to survive, you have to. But I guess he's halfway because he just drank that. He's like,
he's not all the way. I guess it takes time. He's there, but
I guess if he did start biting, then he becomes one.
Because he only drank, he actually
that's it has it solidified. Yeah.
Right.
So
he would have to do that to be cool.
That's why he was saying the initiation is over. You gotta start sucking.
Get to home plate, right? You're only on first or second. You come home.
You might need a sack fly to get in. Sacrifice bunt.
Whatever is necessary to get home is what we.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he restrains himself though, and they're kind of like disappointed. They're like, dude, really?
They don't do anything to him, but they're just looking at him like, come on,
like you're letting us down. Like I thought you were a homie. You know what I mean? Thought you were dope.
And the whole point was they were thinking he was going to be cool with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Once because they obviously secretly made him be a vampire. They didn't do it openly. Psyched him into drinking something that he thought was wine or was blood. He never fully wanted to be a part of what they were anyway. He just wanted to be cool with them,
right?
But not be a vampire,
right? Exactly. And then Michael sees Star after that, and he's like pissed off at her. He says, "Oh, you set me up," and she's like, "I did."
He wants someone to blame at this point, right? He's not blame himself, right? So he's like, "Well, shit, I'm gonna blame her. She was there. She could have stopped me or whatever." That's what he's thinking about.
He's like, "That wasn't wine. That was blood." He's like, "Well, that's what she told you. She told you." Yeah, like don't drink that, and you was paying attention either.
And I kind of feel like she was being more adamant. He would have still blocked her. To be cool with them more than listen to her.
Yeah, exactly.
When he should have been more listening to her and not worried about being cool with them. Yeah.
So then we cut to Sam calls the Frog Brothers, and they show up on their bikes again, and they jack the grandpa's car. They're like, "Hey, grandpa, can I borrow your car?" He's like, "No," but they just drive off anyway. So they take it and they go to the vampire cave, and they have some weapons on them. They have some stakes.
They brought some stuff.
Yeah, and they're like, "Okay, like we gotta invade. We gotta see what's going on."
They get in.
Yeah, they get in there, and Michael leads the way, but he's really just trying to get the girl and the little boy out of there. And you never really know who the little boy is.
That's another question. Yeah, I saw him, and that was kind of a question mark.
Yeah, is he her little brother? Or is he her son? Or something?
Something's unknown. He ever really gets revealed in what his part was.
Yeah, right? What his capacity is.
Right.
Yeah.
You just know he's there, but you don't know why he's there. You don't know who he's.
Yeah. But she's protective of him. So he gets them both out, and they're inspecting the place. They're like, "Oh shit, this is where the vampires hang out." Yeah. And they were like, "I thought they usually have coffins." And then Feldman was like, "This place is one big coffin." So they look around, and then finally they look up. They're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, they were.
See them all hanging upside down.
It's cool. I was recording this too to see them like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Instead of being classically like
in the coffin, yeah,
they're just hanging.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch. Yeah. It really added to the bat type of thing, you know. Right. I mean, like
flying and stuff. Yeah, because they fly obviously when they're not sleeping. They fly down.
Right, and that's scarier, I think. You know what I mean? Seeing dudes hanging upside down.
Seeing them in a coffin is okay. It's gonna scare you when you open it. Yeah, but just watching them being above you, just hanging, sleeping.
That's freaky.
That's a lot more scary.
Yeah. So when they see it, they're like, "Oh shit." So then they're like, "Okay, we gotta kill at least one of these guys." So they go up to Alex, the guy from Bill and Ted, that vampire, and they're like, "All right," and they're like, he's just like, "Okay, let's go," and just boom, right in the chest, and just like, you see him screaming, and all this blood is gushing out of him, and it's like getting on them, and then the other guy starts screaming too. Like they sense that he
already died.
Yeah, so they all wake up, like, what the fuck? And then David sees it. He's like, "You guys are fucking dead. It's a big mistake." Right. So they start running out. Yeah, by the grace of God, they are about to get out, but then he grabs Haim's foot. He grabs Sam's foot right when he's about to leave.
David does?
Yeah, David does. Yeah. And then the brothers are like, "Come on, like
like let's go. Yeah, like
drag him out into the sun. Like yeah, yeah. So he's trying. They're like he's trying to hold on, and they're trying to drag him out. And they do a little bit. His hand comes out and it catches fire.
Oh, that's what stops it from.
Yeah. And then they get out, and then the reaction of it is cool because you see him like his hands on fire, and it goes into this close up, and he's like crying, and he's looking at the camera. Do you remember that? It's kind of freaky because I remember seeing that as a kid. I was like, why is he looking at the camera like that? And he's like kind of smiling.
It's like that moment where he's looking at the camera with his hand.
Yeah, his hand's on fire, and then you see him, and then like this tear comes down, and he's like, yeah, yeah,
I gotta go back.
yeah. Watch that. Yeah, maybe we'll pull it up.
Yeah.
No, even now I watch that.
Like that scene stood out to you, like
that
particular, David.
It's like, why did they shoot it that way? And if they didn't mean to, why did they leave it in like that?
Like it was edited out.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's better having them leave that in. You know,
I'm pretty sure he that's acting. You know how the tear came down.
Right.
Motion that David showed. They're like, no, we want to keep this.
Yeah, there's some kind of magic to that.
Something to that
clip that they kept.
But they were like, this needs to be seen by the audience.
Right. Yeah. So I always thought that was really cool, and as a kid, it was like a thing that really stuck with me. So this sets up like the final showdown.
This is it, which is the last moment of this last chapter of the movie.
Right. Part of the movie. Camps get ready.
Yeah, you see them like the house, getting holy water in the bathroom, getting garlic.
Yeah, exactly.
Setting up things. They're acting like they're always acting like they're in war, but you see them like
they take it even more seriously this time. Yeah.
It's a real showdown.
Actually, going back to that last scene, in the cave, when you see them come out to the car, if you see the Frog Brothers, you see, they had all this blood on them.
Yeah.
If you look, you see glitter on them too. Like there's glitter.
Oh, they put glitter on them?
Yeah. So Joel Schumacher was like, "Oh, we put glitter in the blood, actually, just to give it that 80s poppiness." You know what I mean? So that's he says that. Yeah. To just give it that bubblegum type of feel, So they put glitter
extra to it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. But so we see them getting ready, and then they interrupt like a baby christening or something to get the holy water. Put it in the canteens that they have, and the music there is really cool. Love that. Yeah, and then you see them putting garlic in the bathtub, and it's like, and then they're filling it with holy water. Yeah, they're prepping everything. And then night strikes, and then you see like David's eyes open.
Like, it's time to go.
Exactly. There you can, and
you see from their point of view, like them going to their house. And then all of a sudden they get to their house.
Yeah, no, and then this part is cool because they're like, "Oh shit, no, look!" Like the dog is strapped to he's tied to the wood.
So they gotta get him because it's shit for him.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, we left him out there." They're like, "Oh shit," and they're like, they're on their way. It's like you had to remember.
It was bad timing, right?
Yeah. So Michael has to run out, but they're like they're descending, and he's like, "Oh,
they're starting to come down into
and he takes them off and he like throws them in, but they barely make that too. This part here, the beginning of this showdown part, there's like a quietness, before they get the dogs. Yeah, like it reminds me of the anime film Vampire Hunter D, which is a great film. If you've never seen it, it's a great Japanese anime. It's one of the best of all time. It's one of my favorites, actually. And I plan on doing an episode of Briterion, maybe with George on that movie, because I know he really likes that movie. If he's available, he's been very busy lately. But if you haven't seen Vampire Hunter D, watch that movie. It's a great film. And they kind of came out around the same time, so I don't know if one stole from the other at all. It's also a great movie. And so this scene, like the beginning of this showdown, reminds you of that, because there's a scene where a similar thing happens, but it's at the beginning of the movie, actually. So Vampire Hunter D, he's there. He's hired to protect the girl because she's been bitten by the count of the town. And the first night he turns off, they have a security system, and he turns it off. And he's like, okay, like I want to turn this off so they come, and I want to challenge them, I want to see what they're all about. So then they come, and then he has to fight them, basically, and they think that they'll just be able to kill his ass like that, but he can handle his business with the sword. So great film if you haven't seen it, Vampire Hunter D. So they grab Nanook and throw him into the house, So the Frog Brothers take Star and the boy to the room. They're like, take them up there, like put them away. So they take her and the boy to the room. But then they're like, oh, like let's just kill him right now. That's what Feldman says. He's like, let's just kill these guys right now.
Let's not waste any time.
He's like, these guys are vampires, so let's just take care of them. She's like, no, like she gets all pissed off, and so they hide, and then all of a sudden, they go into the bathroom, and this other vampire dude, he's already in there, and they're like, like the blonde vampire guy.
They get him though, right?
Yeah,
they get him with the holy water.
Yeah, because they fall on the ground, and he sees this bathtub full of garlic and water. He sees that. He's like, garlic don't work. Like he says something like that. He says that to the guy. And they're like, oh, but what about holy water? So they splatter water in his face and it starts burning. So he starts seeing blood, and they're like, oh shit. Okay. So then they manage to like push him into the tub with the holy water. He's like, ah, shit. He starts like melting, disintegrating there. Yeah, it's pretty bloody there, actually. Like blood gets in the piping. Yeah, exactly. And then by the end of that, he's a skeleton. You see him, and he's just a skeleton. See a skeleton with his sharp ass teeth. Yeah, and then what was cool is that they make it inside, but then one of the other vampire, he slides through the chimney, and he comes through the chimney, and he's like, I got you. He's like, oh shit, like he came through the chimney. Yeah, he slides in. You would have expected Santa Claus coming through the chimney, not a vampire with claws. Yeah, and then they have to take care of his ass right there. So in the living room, Sam is trying to hide, and like that red light there, that like makes it really creepy and cool. Like the fact that they use this red light there gives it like this, extra element. That's pretty cool. And so Sam is trying to hide, but then another vampire grabs him and takes him into the air. So he's like flying in the air with him, but he's like, oh shit. And he's like laughing kind of at him, but then he grabs a squirt gun that he had on him and he shoots him in the face. Oh shit. And so it burns him, but then he falls down, and then Sam finds a crossbow because the uncle, he's a hunter. So he has all this shit. He has a lot of weapons and stuff, and a lot of wood and crap, and he has a lot of antlers on his wall too, right? Animals that he's killed, right? So that plays a factor, right, in this. So then Sam finds a crossbow, and he's like, all right, look. And he's like, oh, he shoots one, but he misses. And the guy's like, you missed, sucker. So the guy says, and then so he does it again, and he gets him right in the chest, and it pins him against the stereo. And he's like, so he gets electrocuted too. Like, not only does he get hit by the crossbow arrow, he gets like electrocuted by the stereo system. And he says the infamous line, death by stereo. Yeah, he's like, cool, death by stereo. And then we see the blood from the other guys going everywhere. It's going in the kitchen. Blood everywhere. Yeah, and then David comes up flying. He attacks Michael. He's like, they start like pinning. This is the showdown. Yeah. And it's funny because watching it back, it was like, oh, that was a pretty quick showdown. That didn't last very long. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was like longer than that. Yeah, you would have thought it would have been a longer showdown. Yeah, but it was kind of cool because they have, they're in midair and they're like, flying around. And David pins Michael against near the wall, and there's those antlers sticking out, and he's like trying to push. Oh, he's trying to push. Yeah, he's trying to push him a bit more, but he's resisting. He's pushing back, and he's like, oh, and he's like, David. He's like, I don't want to kill you, Michael. He's like, I just want you to join our crew. I just want you to be like one of us. And then Michael just like spins him around and stabs him right there on the antlers. And you can see the antlers sticking through his chest, these big ass moose antlers or whatever they're called, reindeer antlers sticking out of him. And then you can sense that he's dying. And it's cool because the smoke is like coming off of him and the lighting, like looking down, and you slowly see him. He starts looking human again. Yeah, and he's just like, and he's like so pale, like he's like hella pale. At that point, he's like pale. Yeah. I mean, it's really cool scene. And
That was it for the showdown, right?
Yeah, from those two, yeah, you're like, oh, like,
oh yeah, I forgot. There's still another guy that we
yeah,
talk about
here. Yeah, seeing him there, then thou shalt not kill. Of course. Yeah,
at that song.
Gotta go back to that. So then Sam and the Frog Boys go to the room and they're bragging. They're like, "Oh, I killed this guy with this, and I killed that guy." Like, oh, you should just, yeah. They're like, "Oh, I'm so tight. You killed that guy." Yeah, it's pretty funny. And then, so after he kills David, Michael hides with Starla, and they come down. Sam and the Frog Brothers come down looking for him. He's like, "Mike, Mike," and he's like, "Oh, don't let him see me like this." He's like, he's saying that because he doesn't want to see him. He doesn't want them to see him. The image of him, yeah, as a vampire. Yeah, that vampire face. So he's like, "Oh, fight me." He's like, "Don't let him see me like this." So they're like, Michael, and they're like, wait. They're like, then David wasn't the head vampire. He's like, because like I'm still a vampire, and she's like, yeah, I feel this. Yeah. It's like, oh shit. Then he wasn't the head vampire. Like, and then all of a sudden, who the hell is? Yeah. Yeah, and then we see Max's car roll up outside. He rolls up with the mom. Yeah. And they walk into the room. They're like, "What the fuck is going on here?" She's like, "What the hell is going on here?" And then it's funny because you see Max. He like walks up to David and he kind of grabs his face, and you're like, "What the fuck is he doing? Why does he give a shit about him?" Right. You know what I mean, like, why is he doing that? And then Sam says to Max, like, "Oh, I knew it. You're the head vampire." And then the mom was like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about? You guys are smoking crack." And then Star says, "Yeah, like you're the secret David was keeping." That's what she says. And then he nods his head like, "Yep." He just like subtly agrees with her. And the other frog brother, not Feldman. No, not yet. The frog brother was like, "Oh, but you passed the test." Like, what the heck? Yeah. But then he tells him, he's like, "Never invite a vampire into your home, silly boy. It renders you powerless." Like, so that's one of the rules. If you invite them, yeah, that's the only way they can come in. Yeah, that's the only way. Yeah, but then none of your shit will work. Like the garlic won't work, the holy water won't work. Because I'm welcome here, baby. Yeah, because you put me in here. Yeah, yeah. If you didn't do that, like if I creep in on you, you can do that shit to me. Is it because he's the head? Because the other vampires died by holy water and all that. Oh, but they weren't invited either. You know what I mean? Exactly. So that's like one of the rules, I guess. You know what I mean? Like I was saying, and From Dusk Till Dawn, like certain movies create vampire rules, and you can either which is universal though. Yeah, I've seen a lot of vampire movies. The inviting in, the way they play with that, right? On the movie, yeah, exactly. There's always you have to be in. Yeah, that's been the standing rule for years. Right. Yeah, exactly. So they're like, "Oh shit!" But it's funny because Haim was like, "Did you know that rule?" He's like, "Of course I knew that rule." And he was like, "Oh, okay." Like, why didn't you say anything? Oh. But then the mom is still like, "What the hell's going on?" And she doesn't want to believe it. Yeah, I think she sees him actually in vampire form, and she's like, "Oh, he is a vampire." Right. And then so Max tells her, "It was you, Lucy." He's like, "I knew if I could get your boys and my boys to be friends, then we could be one big family or whatever." You know, that's what he said. So then Feldman is like, "Oh, great, the blood-sucking Brady Bunch here." Like, and then all of a sudden Max turns around and he's a vampire and he looks all hella weird. He turns his face. Yeah, yeah. He looks like John Lithgow meets some old chola mom with like these thin eyebrows all high and shit like that. Yeah, like a little bit of the Joker thrown in, kind of. He looks weird. His face is definitely. Yeah, he looks really weird. And so then he's like kind of about to attack them, but then Mike is like, "I didn't invite you this time, Max." Yeah. So then Mike runs up to him, but then Max is so strong, he just tosses his ass. He just goes like in one motion. Yeah. And Mike flies like 50 feet. And then he has Sam in a headlock. He just has him easily. And then the Frog Brothers are like trying to do something. Like he just killed the other vampire guy. Like he just threw him like 50 feet. Yeah, like it was nothing. So yeah. Yeah, so he's like, "Join me, Lucy." He's like convincing her, like just join me. Just be a vampire. And she's like, "Okay." So she like grabs his hand, and he's like about to bite her. He's like an inch away from biting her, and all of a sudden you hear this, and then you see this car crashing through the house, and it's like, "What the?" Oh, it's the grand. The grandpa, yeah. So the grandpa, he has all this wood because he's making like his own fence outside his property. He's like using these big wood sharp pillars, and so right when he crashes into the house, big wood just rams into him. Yeah, because he crashed into the house. Yeah, so that saved him. Yeah, it was like, wow, good timing.
Michael starts to eventually.
Yeah, they start turning normal. And they're like, oh shit, yeah, like I'm normal now. But then their faces are all like, black and like smoke all over them, stuff like that. And they're like, oh shit, like that was an ordeal, And then the grandpa gets out of the car and he looks around. He like takes a drink from his flask and he's like, well, that's the problem with Santa Clara. Too many damn vampires. And they're like looking around like, okay.
Right.
And then ding ding ding, Jesus, strange. Yeah, strange. Yeah, and that's the movie, man. I thought it was great.
Yeah. So about top vampire movies, this one has to be high on, I would think, most people's list. It's definitely high on what we think for a vampire horror movie, and it stood the test of time. It's a fun watch. Like you said, it wasn't too dark. It has good moments of humor, and it's unique because you can speak to this. It's the only horror movie vampire where they don't become vampires in a traditional way that I know of. I've never seen a vampire where someone drinks blood and then becomes it versus getting bit is always been the way of transforming a person to a vampire.
Right.
So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I mean, there might have been some movies, but I can't think of any. I mean,
yeah,
obscure.
I'm not going to say that it hasn't happened, but I've watched a lot of vampire movies, and the ones I've watched, I've never seen.
Maybe some old-ass, obscure Turkish Dracula movie.
It's not common.
Yeah, not that I've seen.
He went left field with that, the director.
And something I forgot to mention, when they stab the guy Alex from Ted, Bill and Ted, when they first kill him in the cave and the blood and the glitter falls on him when they were running out. The brother tells Feldman, he's like, what the hell happened? You choked up there. That's what he tells him. And he's like, yeah, well, he's like, they're the mind scrambling. He says that. So that's another thing that some vampires have in movies and shit, and some don't. But they have this thing where they can like hypnotize you, like they can kind of control your mind. So that's what he meant when he was saying that, this mind scrambling shit. So that's like a power that they have. They have like they can do shit like that too. That's another power that they have. But yeah, no, I mean, here's what's funny. So I told you we went to LA on Saturday, right? We went to this event early in the day, and then we're like, oh, what else should we see? Like, what else should we check out? So we're just like, yeah, let's, we ate something else, and then we went to Amoeba Records.
Been there.
Great place. Yeah. They have a lot of CDs, a lot of records, a lot of movies, a lot of books.
One of the best.
Yeah. If you like pop culture shit, you got to go there. Yeah.
It's a staple for that stuff.
Yeah, you'll love it. You can spend hours. I could spend all the fucking day there, honestly.
Yeah, especially when you're really into records.
Yeah.
If you're a producer,
right?
I'm pretty sure, like, you've seen this show called "What's in My Bag." I think that's where they go.
Yeah, exactly.
Alchemists, all these people.
I love watching this.
Yeah, they all go to Amoeba.
Right, exactly. So yeah, we were there on Saturday, and we were already there for like an hour or something, and I was like, let me check out the books. I was like, I just want to see what kind of books they got, because they usually have cool books there, actually. So I was up there, and it's funny because while I was up there, they have a lot of posters there too, and I saw there was this Lost Boys poster there, and so I was like, oh, like that's cool. But it's like the typical one where the one where you see his face and their faces in the red. It's like the typical poster. Right. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I already have a lot of posters and crap, so I wouldn't buy it, but that's cool.
It's still cool.
Yes. Yeah, and I could see some kids were looking at it there. They're like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. And then I was still looking at some other books, and then I turn around and I see this guy, this like blonde guy. He's like looking at some books, and I was like, who's this? Who the hell's this guy? And then it was weird because there was this other guy behind him, this like tall black guy behind him, which I was like, okay, like that's weird. Like, what? Why is this guy there? And he was like holding a cane, and I was like, that's weird. And then I saw this chick, this kind of weird looking chick was walking by. Where it was like she kind of looks like a tweaker model type of chick. So I was like, who the hell is this chick? I was like, it was just weird. But then it was like, well, then we're in LA, so it's like, what do you expect? Yeah. You're in Hollywood. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. You just gotta accept it. But then I looked back over and I was like, wait, what the hell? I was like, this guy seems familiar. This blonde dude who was there, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, dude, I think that's Corey Feldman. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, and so I saw my wife shortly after that. I walked downstairs and I was like, hey, I was like, I think that's Corey Feldman right there.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? Let me see. So she goes up there and she looks around and I'm downstairs and she comes back up to me. She's like, yeah, that's him. She's like, that is him. And I was like, wow.
It was definitely.
It was him. It was 100% him.
Did you guys go up to him or anything?
No, I just didn't want to follow him. Yeah, and the fact that he had, I guess that black guy was his security. You know what I mean? So I was like, if he has someone like that around him, then I guess he doesn't want people fucking with him. You know what I mean?
But it's crazy we chose to do the film
right. Exactly.
Right before we recorded this.
Exactly.
Yeah, you run into him. Feldman. One of the stars of the movie.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's like kind of sad too. Seeing him older now too. But like you said, like he doesn't get roles nowadays. You know what I mean? All his best shit was like his kid.
Literally just going down memory lane and Friday the 13th. Those are all kid stuff. It was not adults. Yeah, I read those movies, but it's all kid stuff with him.
Yeah, I mean that sucks.
It sucks that it didn't go into adulthood. It just stayed at the kid.
Right.
But at least he was a part of the classics, regardless, right? Yeah. If I was a person in Hollywood, I'll take either way. But you do feel for them, like seeing him as an adult. You might be like, it kind of sucks that he never really
went beyond that.
Like his memories stay in the childhood as far as his movie.
Right.
So
I mean, and what else sucks is because so he was really good friends with Corey Haim, with them doing all this shit in passing,
How he passed, I believe it was overdose.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Prescription shit.
Yeah. I mean, so many artists, so many actors. I mean, I believe Heath Ledger was an episode of that, right?
Yeah, same shit. Yeah, it's tragic.
It happens,
Yeah.
But they'll always be remembered. I mean, he's still living, but the two of them are joined because when you say one, because they have the same
They're
name.
the Coreys. Yeah.
They actually did, I think, a movie or something about them. I thought I told you about it.
Well, they did a reality show. I don't know that.
But they actually did like
a documentary.
Yeah, a documentary or a movie where like people played like their lives or something like that. I'll have to.
Okay.
I think it's called The Two Coreys.
Okay.
And I never watched it, but I remember it coming out.
I need to peep that.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that this movie, I think it still lives on. It'll always live on as a classic, I think, in the horror genre, in the vampire genre, in the 80s genre. Like, people love this shit, And I remember there's this guy, I think it was on the I Love the 80s. They were talking about this movie, and there's this is a metal horror guy. His name is Brian Posehn. He's a comedian, but he's one of these horror guys he's one of these metal guys who's really into horror. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's one of those guys. You see a lot of horror and metal cross contaminate kind of. And he was saying, he's like, oh, these two Corey. He's like, I don't like these fucking two Coreys. He's like, I was never a fan of them. He's like, but the Lost Boys. He's like, that movie's a fucking shit. He's like, that movie's tight. He's like, he had to admit that. He's like, I'm not a fan of the Corey. He's like, but that movie is fucking tight.
I look at this movie like I look at Nirvana, like it's a crossover. Black people, Mexican people.
Yeah.
Because this movie is rock based. You got the Doors songs in there, whatever. I'm pretty sure it just transcended races. I think it's a good movie.
Yeah. The universal.
Someone in the hood somewhere that will still respect Lost Boys. That doesn't look like a person that would even watch that.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. Same thing with Nirvana. Well, that's when I started getting into rock, and I was all hip hop before that. Other groups start coming in, but that's how I look at Lost Boys. My point. It's like a transcending movie where it doesn't matter your background.
Exactly. This is a certified classic.
It was just a classic. So anybody from any demographic, race, is just. I think they all can feel this one.
It's just beloved. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that. People from the hood. One of the greatest hip hop groups of the 90s. What is their name? Lost Boys. You know what I mean? Took it from this. So BOYZ. LOST to the BOYZ. Not just that, but you know who else loves this movie? Because he did one of those crate diggers. And he shows this record.
Who is that?
Just Blaze. He loves
this movie?
Yeah, because he was saying, "Oh, he's like Lost Boys soundtrack." He's like, "This is the shit."
So that's what I'm saying. Straight hip hop purists.
Yep.
Did tracks for Jay-Z and Kanye and whoever else.
Down with the Lost
Down with
Boys.
the Lost Boys. So it's not just coming from me. It's,
No.
you just gave me examples of, like I said, it transcended. That's an example.
Exactly.
People you wouldn't think champion this movie and like it. So that's what we have to say about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and something else to cap this off. There's this chick in TJ. She makes these scented candles, and she has a theme, and she has like a horror goth theme for all her candles.
No,
so
that's what she's into.
Yeah, she's like one of these goth chicks. You know what I mean? But she's cool, and so I remember
you got one of hers.
Yeah, a couple years ago, and so yeah, this is the Lost Boys candle. Yeah, see, so
just to prove people, this movie
Lost Boys the
transcended.
candle.
You got Candle, you got hip hop producers liking it. It's just.
I love how this smells too.
Yeah, has a different.
Smells like Jacquard Noir.
Yeah, it smells, but it's definitely a smell.
Yeah,
it captures. But yeah,
that darkness.
That was it.
Lost Boys. Yeah, Lost Boys, another Briterion Bollection classic.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you on the next one.
See you next time.